Hi, my name is Bill Laboon. I'm the Technical Education Lead at Web3 Foundation here in Zug, Switzerland. And today I'm going to discuss crowdloans. So the first thing that I want to mention about crowdloans is that this is simply one way to access them. There will be other ways that different providers will provide. However, I'm showing how to do it through polkadot.js. If you've never used polkadot.js, you can use your favorite web browser to go to polkadot.js.org/apps, and it will show you a network explorer similar to this one. The first thing that you will need to do on polkadot.js is determine which network you want to interact with. Here you can see that I'm on Kusama, looking in the upper left-hand corner. However, you could switch to Polkadot, or whichever chain that you would like to use. Personally, for this, I am using a local testnet, but you will probably not want to do this unless you're doing some development work. This is simply so that I can set things up exactly how I want them. So once you are accessing the correct network, so this would again generally be Kusama, Polkadot, or anything else would generally be a test network of some sort. If you go to network parachains at the top, this will show you that on my particular test relay chain here, I have 2 parachains running, ID 200 and 300, and I have 6 parathreads. Now, parathreads in this context, we can see all 6 of them now. Parathreads in this context are basically potential parachains. They're blockchains that have not yet permanently connected to the relay chain. In order to do so, they will need to win an auction. And just like in an auction for fine art, you want to have the biggest bid of tokens in order to get your parachain slot, since you are competing against others who are also trying to get this parachain slot. So there are a variety of ways that you could do this. Perhaps the simplest would be if you were able to store, you as the owner of the parachain, were able to store up enough tokens to win the auction on your own. But many parachains will try to use the crowd of people who would like to participate in their parachain to help provide enough tokens for them to win the auction. So they can do this by offering some sort of benefit to users, and whatever benefit this is will vary from chain to chain, so it makes sense to do some research on this, in exchange for tokens that they can use to win the auction. Now, these tokens will be locked for the duration of this crowd loan and the lease period that the parachain has that parachain slot. However, if you go through the crowd loan process, then you are guaranteed to eventually get your tokens back once the lease period ends, or if the crowd loan fails, it doesn't reach its cap. So it's very important to realize you are not sending tokens to any particular account. You were using the built-in crowdloan module. You're not just transferring tokens to some account. You will not use the transfer extrinsic to do anything here. So if we go to crowdloan, we can see which crowdloans are currently running. We can see 1 minute is left for several of these crowdloans. So we'll see what happens when they end. But before that happens, let's look at all the information we have on them. So we can see the ID for this top crowdloan relevant to the parathread is 2004. It is active. Actually, if we make this a little bigger, we can see that the user, the account who did this is named Eve. It is ending in 30 seconds, or at block 2000. We are at block 1996. It is going for lease period 1. We can see others are going for a larger number of lease periods. This is going for 8. and it is raised 0 out of 300 maximum units. The count is 0, and I have not yet contributed. So now we will watch as these leases have ended. We can see that they are no longer active. I cannot contribute to them, and they in fact ended in the completed section here. So let's look at those I can contribute to. So here we have Alice. Alice has set a time longer in the future for hers to end, and she is looking for 100,000 units. We can see that two accounts have contributed to Alice's crowd loan. And in fact, one of these accounts is one that I own. We can tell because the asterisk has turned green. So I'm going to contribute with another one of my accounts here. Alice is going to contribute 20 units. So while we have Alice is feeling generous, she'll contribute 120 units. And we can see here the minimum allowed is 1 unit, and the remaining until cap, basically how many is like the maximum number that can be obtained, is 99.35 kilo units. So this is something that's a little bit confusing. You may see the 120 and think that, oh, wait, this is more than 99. However, always check the denomination, since polkadot.js will automatically use SI prefixes such as kilo for 1,000 to show the values here. So it's very important to look both at the actual number and the denomination that it's using. So I'm going to contribute. So Alice is contributing 120 units. We will wait. We can see that it's now in a block, and we can see the number has increased slightly to 762. Alice can contribute again. You can see the count has gone up because Alice is an account that has never contributed to this. Alice can contribute some more if she likes. You can see my user is still Alice. So Alice is going to do 115.4321 units this time. She will contribute. We will notice that the number goes up here to 877. However, the count has not increased since it's the same account contributing again. So now Alice's 235 or so dot are now locked until either the lease period ends or the if the crowd loan is closed and the tokens released back to the individual users. So here we can see that Eve never received anything for her crowd loan, and so Eve actually can close this. So all the others have to wait until they participate in an auction. So Eve is going to close this out. Actually, anyone can close out an account for here. So now Eve could make a new crowd loan. So she's going to make one for 200. That will end at block 2500, and she is going to go for lease periods 16 through 23. So you can see this is the maximum number of lease periods that can be competed for in an auction. So obviously, as an individual user who is not creating a parachain, you would not be able to create a crowd loan, but just to sort of show you what happens from the beginning here. So we have a new crowd loan. And so Eve has created this for her parachain in 2004. We're going to contribute to it with another account. So Alice is going to contribute everything that she can. Note, of course, she cannot contribute more than the cap, right? So 200.0001 will not work. 200 is the largest amount. So we contribute. and we sign and submit. And here we can see that Eve's parachain is capped. So Eve was asking for 200 units for the auction, and she received 200 units for the auction. So this does not necessarily mean that she will win the auction, but presumably Eve has determined how many tokens that she would need in order to have a good chance of winning it, and so she is probably in a good place here. So this is obviously a very simple overview of crowdloans. There's a lot more detail one could get into. I recommend that you read through the Polkadot wiki at wiki.polkadot.network to really understand how crowdloans work. But hopefully this video has whet your appetite and has made you interested in participating in the crowdloan process.